Hey, you guys, I hope you are doing well. Believe it or not, I am actually making this video in a Walmart parking lot. Um, my granddaughter, when she's with me, when she's around and she's around often, she is up under me like constantly. So a lot of times I really can't even get a moment to myself. I love it. I do love it. But sometimes I'm like, I can't even like make a video because she's just right up under me. I'm sitting there watching Cocomelon for several hours or playing with her or reading to her. So I rarely get a moment to myself. So I was like, let me go out to Walmart because I'm going to go ahead and make a lasagna for Christmas. Anyway, I rarely do traditional food on Christmas. I always do something different for Christmas. So I'm like, let me get out. And since I'm actually by myself, let me go ahead and drop one of these videos because now that she's kind of, around, and she'll be around for a few days, I doubt if I'll get a moment to myself. So again, do me a favor, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into these topics. Now, did y'all get y'all superpowers as promised yesterday? Because all the Negroes in all the lands were supposed to get our superpowers yesterday. And I had been waiting. I was waiting up, midnight, Monday morning. I was waiting December 21st that we was going to get our shit, right? Because it's the winter solstice. Now, I saw this trending, right? And I was like, what is going on? And I saw it trending on Sunday. And apparently there's what they call this conjunction, right? And that's when Jupiter and Saturn perfectly align, and they are the closest they've been in well over, I guess, 4 centuries. I think the last time they've been this close was like 1623. I think Galileo discovered it or something like that. And a lot of people were able, this is actually a real picture, a lot of people took to their telescopes and everything like that, and they were able to capture Saturn and Jupiter and to see Jupiter's 4 moons. If you're wondering why I know a lot of this, obviously I was a teacher. I used to teach this kind of stuff. So anyway, the Negroes, the black folks, were supposed to get our superpowers, right? And I really just wanted to teleport, honestly, until like 2021 to get this bullshit over with. And then I realized I'm not going to waste it on that because 2021 probably ain't going to be no better than 2020. But if I had to have a superpower, right, maybe I would want to fly. But a lot of people, I think Dr. Umar Johnson, got his superpowers and shit like that because he still has this unique ability, the strongest ability to still blind people to this bullshit, right? To blind people to the connery and stuff like that. So I think he delivered on his superpowers yesterday because he was definitely able to still blind people to their own common sense. And I just think that's funny. He is the Negro whisperer when it comes to a lot of these woke folks. But some people like myself, we have always had the ability, well, not always, but for a minute, we have developed the ability to honestly see bullshit a mile away. So I've been able to conquer and rebuke, like the Umar Johnsons of the world like that. And so that you guys know that if you didn't get your superpowers yesterday, just know that the power has always lied within you, all right? The ability to see and smell bullshit a mile away, to see through the nonsense, all right? To be invisible to the bullshit, okay? So just remember that in case you were disappointed that nothing came of it and you weren't able to get none. You had it in you all along. So let's go ahead and get into Uncle Luke. Uncle Luke came out, 2 Live Crews, Uncle Luke, right? Don't stop, get it, came out and said that he contracted the Rona and he got it, listen to this, because he succumbed to peer pressure. I don't know how old Uncle Luke is, but I'm imagining that he's in his 50s, maybe early 60s or something like that. But he said that he got it because he gave in to peer pressure. And I was like, what the hell is going on? So apparently Uncle Luke went out, his friends pressured him to go out to a strip club. And that's where he caught the roro. Okay. And not that it's funny. I'm glad that he's okay and I'm glad that he's better. but I really was kind of clowning him on the fact that he said that he gave in to peer pressure. So let me go ahead and read this. He said, recently I joined the ranks of the more than 1 million Floridians who caught the roro. During the pandemic, I have been strictly adhering to the CDC guidelines, especially wearing a mask whenever I stepped out of my house. Then I gave in to the peer pressure of going out to a party, he wrote. Last month, a friend celebrating his birthday at a local strip club would not stop blowing up my phone. He kept begging me to come. I told myself I would go in for 15 minutes and duck out. And so he went on to also say that when he was at the strip club, okay, if that's not even a breeding ground for other stuff, but while he was at the strip club, he said, no, there were no masks in sight and people was all up in his face and he basically got the Rona. And, you know, and I guess he was kind of shocked about it. Now, he said that he did have fevers and he dealt with that stuff. He never had to be hospitalized, but he did learn his lesson and he understand how serious this is. But again, I'm kind of clowning him on the fact that he gave in to peer pressure, right? Because, you know, early on, I was silly about it. I was like, oh, this is nothing. It's just like the flu. I was dumb about it too. But thank God that I realized that this is very, very serious. And thank goodness that he's here to tell the tale and not have some family member telling the tale for him, because it took his life, because a lot of people are being taken by this disease and stuff like that, by this virus. So don't give in to peer pressure no more. You was not 17 or 18. You not 15. You grown. And you shouldn't be talking about you were pressured. Okay, let's stop this, man, please. Next up is Drewdora. Now, listen, I talked about Drewdora before because it's not a lot when it comes to Atlanta. It's really not a lot to talk about. These last several episodes for me have been very flat, and it just is not giving what it's supposed to be given, in my opinion. And a part of that, honestly, could be due to the fact that they have to adhere to certain guidelines because of the roro and stuff like that. But I don't even know if it's just like, something's missing. There is some element of something that is missing. And I'm assuming maybe Kenya going to bring it later. Her and LaToya going to team up to bring it later. But I don't know. But the reason why I wanted to talk about Drew specifically is because I don't know, something about Drew's storyline triggers me. But let me get into Drew. So on this episode, she making, pancakes, which she really should have allowed them to cook a little longer because they looked like they weren't done, Drew. It looked like one of those pancakes that if I was to cut into it, it would still be oozing. Okay, they were just a little too light for my liking. But anyway, Drew and her husband, Ralph, they're sitting there with her mother, and mom is just kind of, she's saying her discernment and everything like that. And automatically, I see that mom is going to be an issue, right? Because I am sure that mom is a sounding board for Drew to just kind of get out her frustrations about her marriage. And mom is kind of like lightly shading, and you can just like a lightly veiled shade to her husband. And you can tell that Drew talks to her mom. And I think this is an issue. I think this is an absolute issue. I know her mother supports her, but Drew, you're going to have to get your mama out your marriage. You're just going to have to. Good or bad, you're going to have to get your mama up out of it. Now, what triggered me in this was that scene where Drew was talking about they're moving. Like, they got this nice big house and everything like that. They're moving. And she's like, hey, help me move these boxes. And she's packing up. And he's like, oh, well, she's like, well, what else do we have to do? When's closing? He's like, well, we got to get a lawyer and we got to get an appraisal and we got to do this. And he said, I got to do this. I got to get an appraisal. I got to get a lawyer. And there's a couple of things here. First things first, if you're doing all of that, then y'all still technically looking. Y'all ain't moving yet, because everything that he was saying that they had to do sounds like somebody that literally is at the beginning stages of buying a house. Like, it don't sound like, oh, we about to close. They weren't closing, because everything he was pointing out where he had to do was something that somebody would do when they literally are just beginning the stages of. Drew talking about when we moving in, when we closing and everything like that. Let's move our boxes over. Girl, you can't move nothing. He ain't did nothing. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they mess around and they have to lease that house. That was a lot of gaslighting, and the way he was controlling that, saying I have to, and I'm triggered by that, because it just reminds me of my marriage and how a lot of that was just like, you foregoing your basic common sense. You are literally foregoing basic common sense as you listen to your husband, Drew. And I just know you cannot be this stupid. I just don't. And like I said, it's triggering to me to see him gaslighting her every episode. I thought it couldn't get any worse when the whole thing about him leaving for 3 days and getting upset because she had the nerve to ask. But the gaslighting that took place in this episode and him controlling the whole thing, like I have to, as if Drew, you're not going to be on that title. You're not going to be on the deed to that house, baby. So I don't know. Again, I'm hoping so much that this is just y'all just drumming up the drama and that this isn't really how your marriage is, because I'm concerned for you. I am concerned that you are married to a narcissist. And I didn't think I would get more uncomfortable when it came to watching a person's marriage on this show than I was with Kenya and Mark. That was cringy and uncomfortable to watch. They have now taken the crown of what it is to be uncomfortable watching a couple. That is Drew and Ralph. And it's really sad to watch. So I just cannot, like I said, I was triggered by it because I just remember sitting there foregoing my own common sense to hear my husband tell me so. And he would say his stuff so much that I would start like, well, maybe that is right. And I would honestly forego my own common sense in that. And I feel like Drew is doing that in this moment. And I'm just a little, I'm like, ugh. So like I said, I don't have nothing else really to say about that episode because Drew is the standout. What, good or bad, Drew is the standout of what's been happening over the last couple of episodes. She just is. And so I'm going to stay tuned and watch it. But Drew, just let them pancakes cook just a little longer, girl. Just don't turn them over too fast. Let them cook just a little longer. Even if it's on the griddle, just do us a favor and let them pancakes cook all the way through, because I don't think they were done. Last but not least, let me talk about the E40 and Too Short Verzuz. Now, I think a lot of people certainly didn't tune in. They didn't have the numbers that the other Verzuz had, because sometimes when it is something like it's kind of a regional type of thing, a lot of people aren't interested. But I love music. I love music in general. And as a Chicagoan, surprisingly enough, I do like West Coast stuff, especially even like from the Bay. Growing up in Chicago, we weren't, I can't speak for all Chicagoans, but growing up in Chicago, I guess I would say the people that I knew really weren't big on West Coast rap. Eventually we got into NWA and stuff like that, but I actually started to like West Coast rap when I used to visit Detroit. Shout out to Detroit. In the mid 80s, like all the way up to like maybe the early 90s, me and my cousin, we used to go up and spend summers in Detroit all the time with our cousins. And Detroit was big on West Coast rap. That's how I even knew who NWA was, because honestly, Detroit was that. I don't know, it was like this connection with Detroit and like the West Coast. It was just something about the music that they liked, that West Coast music. And so I would hear Too Short and E40 and that kind of music up there all the time. Now, I will say, when Too Short opened it with Freaky Tales, that took me back, because my brother used to actually sneak and play that. But I really did get my experiences of West Coast rap and enjoying it and appreciating it through Detroit. Just my aunt lived like maybe 3 blocks from 7 Mile, and you would just hear music all the time. And on, and tell me if I'm wrong, because if y'all live in Detroit, y'all know, on 7 Mile, like on Saturday nights, the entire strip would just be wall-to-wall cars. Everybody just outside their cars playing music, and that's how it was. And I was like a tween at that age. I was like a tween. I was still young, but I was just mesmerized by all of it, which is why, like I said, I do appreciate this kind of music. So I appreciated this Verzuz. Like I said, I don't think that it got the numbers, but those who know, and those who kind of like a Too Short and E40, you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I remember when Captain Saberho came out, I was in college. And I remember we would be in the dorms, like in the hallways. Is I should have saved her. I want to be saved. And we were all the girls, we didn't know what Captain Saberhole, we wasn't thinking about the lyrics, so to speak, as far as what it was saying. But I just remember we were just all chiming, I want to be saved. And that was the shit for us. We loved that. We loved it. But just, listening to this and watching it just reminded me of all these songs that I used to love, even with Too Short. Man, listen, I completely forgot that Too Short was on Bossy. When he played Bossy, I just was like, oh my goodness, woo! Okay, and then of course, Blow the Whistle. Everybody know Blow the Whistle, right? As soon as Blow the Whistle come on, everybody go up. So I just honestly enjoyed this Verzuz. I did. And I'm sure people from the Bay Area, people from that area, they loved it as well. But like I said, these are two OGs. These are two guys that's been around for a long time. And if you don't know nothing about E40, he is hilarious as hell to me. I like the fact that Nick Cannon was in the comments pretty much breaking down some of the lingo. Because a lot of people, if you didn't know anybody, you didn't know what they was talking about. You didn't know what he was saying. But I like that Nick Cannon was in the comments, like breaking down what he was saying and some of the lyrics and what it meant, right? Because a lot of folks was lost. A lot of folks was completely lost. And also, listen, I never realized just how much Too Short said bitch when I was young. Like, it never dawned on me, and I never thought about it. And I was like, listen, I ain't about to sit here and be woke in this moment. I like the music, okay? So he could say bitch, 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 bitch. Matter of fact, the song was bitch. We got a song that said bitch. And I was just enjoying. I'm like, listen, just let the music play. Let's not get all woke up in the comments and everything like that. People was just having a good time, and they were enjoying. It. So I enjoyed it as well. I absolutely enjoyed it as well. And I'm looking forward to the other verses that they have in store. Of course, Ashanti and Keisha Cole, they still gonna meet up. I believe that's January 9th, because Ashanti was out here running around. She talking about she hugged a family member that had it. No, Ashanti, you was out here traveling. You just wasn't careful, right? But you could have told us before we got all ready for that, right? But nonetheless, I do hope that, we've had this conversation before, I definitely hope that SWV and Escape, I hope they're on the roster. There's so many other ones that, could be certainly possibilities. And I think, as a matter of fact, I think Verzuz a while ago even posted the vibe cover of Jodeci. So I think they got something cooking up with Jodeci. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, y'all. I am so hopeful that Jodeci is going to get the Verzuz that they did. I hope they're going to get their flowers, because I feel like they are going to be on Unsung one day. I feel like Unsung is going to cover Jodeci, because the way Jodeci fizzled out, it was a shame. In the kind of the way they just kind of everything just kind of dissipated for them, but they absolutely deserve their flowers. And I'm hoping to see that in the near future. But I ain't gonna keep this too long. Like I said, I think I've kept y'all too long as it is. I'm actually, like I said, I'm in the Walmart parking lot. I'm just watching people kind of go in and out, and I'm gonna get in here and get done what I need to get done. I'm call myself coming over here early simply because I know the later you get in the day, the more crowded it becomes, because, people are scrambling in the last few days before the holidays. And like I said, I've done all of my stuff. I've done everything I need to do, except, like I said, I do want to go ahead and get this food. All right. And my daughter's birthday is coming up in a couple of days as well, but I've already taken care of that. She wanted a cookie cake this year. I've gotten her the same cake, y'all. Literally, I kid you not. I have gotten her the same cake for the last 14 years, every year. And this year she said she wanted a cookie cake. So I got to get her a cookie cake. And I'm going to try to find a cookie cake that don't have all that frosting on it and stuff like that for the holidays. She don't want that. So I was like, let me try Walmart and see if they got one over here. So that's the only really reason why, because I could have honestly went somewhere else and got the ingredients that I needed. But I do want to go ahead and try Walmart. So anyway, I don't know if I'll be coming back before Christmas unless something happened. But then again, you never know. I didn't plan on doing this one either, to be honest with you. I didn't plan on doing the one with Meg and Asian Doll and JT, but I did. So I guess never say never, if you will. Anyway, I have talked enough. I've rambled enough. I hope you guys are doing well. As stated, do me a favor. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And of course, as always, guys, you know how you can support. If you see ads, let them play. I want to be saved. All right. And I will see you guys on the next video. Take care, y'all. Bye.